Welcome to selfdiscoverymedia.com, where we discover the communities that are making a difference in the lives of others. Our self-discovery is something we are all making on our life's journey. Here you will find the people that will be your guidance, that will be your inspiration, that will be there for you in support on your journey of life. Do enjoy. Our next show is... Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Sarah's View of Life, right here on selfdiscoverymedia.com. I'm your host, Sarah Joy. What did you expect to get out of your life? Did you have a whole dream, and a complete illusion of where you were going to be, how you were going to live your life, what you were going to achieve, how life was going to all unfold for you? I think we all do, don't we? As a child, of course, we're dreaming about becoming the next astronaut or the next actress or ballerina, or in the case of kids today, the next entrepreneur, Fortune 500. We all have those dreams and expectations. And as we grow as a child, the expansion of what we want out of life grows along with us. And then we go to school, or we go to university, and we get a job, and then we suddenly realize all those wonderful dreams of what we wanted for ourselves, what we expected our lives to be, isn't happening. Why not? How come the expectation, the dream of what you want out of life and what you're getting is so different? Well, maybe it's because we folded. You see, this whole education system is educational by numbers. Everything is a numbers game. How high are your numbers? How many numbers are doing this? And it's a very flawed system because it does not embrace the gifts of everyone. It's very, very one-dimensional. And those that really excel in it, those with a great ability to follow instructions, remember and duplicate. The real creative side of people who see a possibility and go after it are the people that keep the dream alive. And you will see some people that, Richard Branson, Bill Gates, Jobs was one of them, and many others that had a dream. And, their dreams were stages. Even Simon Cowell, their dreams were in stages. I'm going to do this. The thing is, they had a drive. They had a drive and a vision, even if they didn't quite know how that vision was going to materialize or exactly what the big picture was going to be. They had enough of a vision to go after it. And whatever steps they had to take in order to get there, first stage, second stage, big expansion stage, now we can go into this and now we can move into that, is the willingness to get into a momentum. It's the willingness to say, I have a dream. I don't quite know how this painting is going to turn out, but I have a vision of what I would like it to be. And then picking up that brush, making sure you have those colors and allowing it to come into fruition. So many people, you ask them, what did you want to be as a child? Oh, I wanted to do this and I wanted to do that. Did you ever do it? No. Why not? Well, my parents wouldn't let me, or I didn't think I was good enough. And there was a girl at school or a guy at school that was better than me, so I didn't bother. Selling ourselves short. Allowing, our parents, which God bless them, they're always looking at our best interests. But if they don't see really the real you, the gifted you, some parents will see it in a format of, can you get straight A's at school? Can you reach the top of your class? And then they deem that a success. Some people can see their children as being gifted in other areas, and they'll nurture that child and that gift without even understanding what the gift is, but nurturing it so that that child can grow it and see where it goes. That's really how it should be. This whole thing about excellent A's and big scores on this and that. Yes, I know it's important in certain areas of life. If you're going to be a neurosurgeon, I really do want you to be very open and receptive to understanding what it is you're doing before you start working on someone's brain. Equally, though, I want your intuitiveness, your instinctuality to be there along with you, because it will guide you in the knowledge of knowing what to do. We're not taught at school how to use our intuition. We're not taught how to hone into our gift. Children change their minds so much. Today, an astronaut, tomorrow, something else, a rock and roll star. It's as they get open to things, exposure to things, the ignition in their head goes off. I could do that. That sounds cool. And for some people, like my brother, from the age of 6, knew he wanted to be a writer and is still a writer today and has many books out there, taught in universities, other people on the art of writing. He always knew that. And whatever else he did, they were jobs to sustain him while he pursued the gift that he had and the joy that he had. And that was great. He did it. Is he rich and famous? No. Is he enriched? Yes. The stories that he's told in his books, the diversity of range of books, the intuitiveness that are in those books, they are his abundance. You couldn't have taken the writer out of my brother. It just never would have worked. The key thing is to understand what is our gift. Even if you excel at school, that's great. You're very good at doing ABC. But what's your gift? How do you use that knowledge? That is really how you get your canvas going. You know you have a canvas before you, and you have a kind of an image in your head of what you want to do, and you know that you have an ability to do this and to do that. And it's nurture that ability, those skills. I'm great at cooking. I'm only great at cooking. No, I'm great at cooking. So what can I do with that cooking? Yes, I can cook for my family. But if I'm so good at this and people love my food, can I make it an industry? My sister at one point in life started doing dinner parties for people who didn't want to cook. She would do everything, bring all the food there, the beautiful porcelain jars. She would have somebody serve it, the whole table laid out, but in the people's home. And they didn't have to do a thing. She did it all. So maybe if you love cooking and you love serving good food, maybe you could look at a different industry in which way you can do it. Use the gift that you are given. Maybe it's to write a cookbook. Maybe it's to raise money for the local food banks or sports group or whatever. We're all given a gift, and it's up to us to understand what it is. You see, that vision and that expectation for your life when you were young isn't so far afield, because it does align with the gift that lies within you. Once you open up your gift and you start to use it, you start to understand it, you understand the vision that you had as a child. And that expectation for your life isn't so grand anymore. It isn't so unreachable anymore. It's totally tangible, because all you have to do is walk it, apply it, again, nurture it, explore it, see where it could go. One of the things I find sad is when people's expectation of their future is somebody else's. It's not theirs. Oh, my mother wanted me to be a lawyer. So I went and got my law degree and gave it to her and went off and painted houses. Yep, somebody actually did that. He got the law degree for the mother. He said, here's your degree. I got it. You happy now? I'm now going to go and paint. That's where I want to be. Paint houses, restore boats. That's where I want to be. All that money, all that time, all that initiative that he put into that just to please his mother. And instead of the mother saying, well, you know what? You love to restore things. How can you make that into a business that is something that combines your passion and your skills into something that can be a company or a job that you can do forever. We have to stop looking at our children and going, I always wanted to be this so you can be it for me. No. They're their own person with their own gift. If you missed out on your gift, A, it's not too late, unless it's something that required a very young body, like a gymnast. At 50 or so, it's very hard to get out there and start doing gymnastics on that kind of scale. It's about recognizing what you can still do in the parameters that you're in now, age, economics, maybe physicality. But looking at your children and go, maybe I did not nurture or understand my gift to bring it to the full fruition that it should be, but I am going to look at the gift in my child. And I have very gifted children. They had the gift of the gab, the gift of presentation. They were very creative, always extremely personable, know how to get on well with people. My youngest sees people from the inside out. She sees them. She knows how to call the bullshit. She also sees the pain. She also sees the suffering, and she's got wonderful, great, nurturing ability to help people. I see for her having her own company down the road and gathering people like her in a bigger scale to do things, because I've always seen that ability in her. But right now, at this stage of life, having a baby, building a house, doing counseling, it's where she needs to be right now. And that's the step by step. And one day a different door will open for her and she'll pursue that. My other daughter is a butterfly. She loves to travel, and she does travel blogs, and she takes wonderful pictures, and she's also a mixologist. And so every place she goes, she kind of creates a drink that represents the country that she's in. And for her, that is her ecstasy. And for me, it's always like, but make it into a business. But when she's ready, right? She's gathering, she's going, it has to be when they're ready. I can see it for her, but she has to see it for herself. My son, on the other hand, is running a very, very successful little restaurant and doing very well with it, highly regarded. It is the neighborhood restaurant that everybody loves to go to. Everybody goes away with a happy tummy, and they love being there because it's like cheers, everybody knows your name type of thing, and they feel at home there. And his passion is, if you walk away with a happy tummy and a smile on your face and you want to come back, he's done his job. And that's his passion, is for people to walk away happy. And he's doing it very well. He followed his passion, right? And he's been a foodie since he was born. But you have to step back as a parent. You could suggest, how about trying this? Have you thought about giving this a go? But always allowing them to come to it in their own time. You may see the gift that's in within them. Drop the breadcrumbs for them to follow. Put them in programs when they're children that you know that will enhance that gift. Maybe they're very good at dancing, very good at gymnastics, very good at team playing, very good at soccer, very good at chess club, very good at the speakers club, debate club. It's encourage your children and encourage your children to explore. Not like, well, you said you love this and now you don't want to do it anymore and you want to do something else. That is okay. They've experienced that. If they didn't continue with that, that meant, yes, I enjoyed it, but not enough to pursue full time. I want to try something else. When they're growing up, that's the time to let them explore and try as many things as possible to find out what gets hold of them. Let them discover for themselves. Now, many a time you see somebody, an athlete, a performer, um, somebody that really excelled and went to great heights, maybe even the Olympics, or, a young performer that was in movies or had music out there. And then there is that crossroads in life where suddenly something happens that they can't do it anymore, or they don't want to do it anymore. And then they're in a flux. Their entire lives were this drive to succeed at whatever it is they were doing. And now for some reason they can't move forward on it. And they have to pause and they have to stop and they have to redirect. And for so many, it's like, well, I absolutely love sports. I'm so proud I went to the Olympics, but really what I've always loved is music. I love to sing. And that becomes then the redirect. All the skills that they learned, the discipline, the tenacity, the ability, the drive to become that athlete, they can now apply into their passion, right? We are not a one note person. It doesn't mean that just because we excelled at something that we should do it for the rest of our lives. It is a chapter in our lives, maybe even 2 or 3 chapters in our lives. And it comes to a crossroads where it's time to redirect and go somewhere else. Maybe a totally different passion, but those that have had that success with the first passion will succeed in the second passion because they know what it takes to get there, how to apply themselves. And it's just a redirect. We all have redirects. There are very few people that were stars as children that haven't fallen off the rails and had the crisis, which generally comes with young actors, and then have gone on to middle or older age where they're still performing. Yes, you do get those. They're very, very far and few between and unique. That even artists, musicians, instead of putting out their own album all the time, they are also collaborating with other people or writing for other people or stepping out and using their music in a different way. It's always about growth. It's always about exploring. It's always about expanding, not settling, right? There's always the pause. Like 2020 is being the pause button. And the time to, reflect and review and renew. Time to really look in, time to take that breath, time to really look at your future and go, I have been going down this road. And in this time period of pause, do I want to continue in the same way? Or do I want to redirect, just pivot in another direction? This is the time to ask that, because this is the gift of this time, is to look at what needs to change, how it needs to change, and what's your next chapter, right? I mean, so many people are saying, I traveled the world for my business. I can't do it this year. So now I'm doing it all by Zoom. And I'm still having those wonderful meetings. I'm still getting everything done. And then I can also go surfing, which I couldn't do before. So redirections are good. It's not all about the suffering, folks. It's about what you make out of it. What gift is it to you? And I know it doesn't always reveal itself straight away, but it will if you give it time. Okay, give it time. And take those deep breaths and look in at your life and go, yes, it's been great up to now and I've really enjoyed that, but I'd really love to try something different. And then this is the time to see those opportunities to move into something different. What did you expect for your life? Have you lived it? Did you reach those great heights? Are you reaching those great heights? Did you give up on yourself? Did you beat yourself up because you didn't live up to that whole dream that you wanted? I wanted to be a singer, dancer, performer. I loved the arts. I was an asthmatic. I would not be hired in any performance in case I had an asthma attack in the middle of a performance. I could sing, but not terribly well because of the lack of lung power. And I loved to dance, but again, limited to do that. I loved acting, but I found that I kind of loved the directing side of it more. I didn't pursue it. Why? Because I didn't finish school due to illness. I missed too much schooling growing up. And it was always put on me, you're just not bright enough. You're just not bright enough. Get married, have kids, settle down. And I kept feeling there was more about me. As a spiritual counselor, I was doing that as a child all the way through my life. But I didn't see it as a career because everything was about, nope, you've got to have a degree, you've got to have a piece of paper, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. And I would say, but God has given me this gift. God doesn't hand out pieces of paper. It either works or it doesn't. And I allowed other people to tell me what I was not. And it's only in my later years I discovered of what I am, what my abilities really are, and started exploring those abilities and realizing there was so much more to me than I allowed myself to know or allowed myself to grow. What I'm saying, it's never too late. I started podcasting my own network and everything at 57. I'm 66 now. I love what I do. I've found my niche. The people I get to interview, they're extraordinary. Ordinary people living extraordinary lives, sharing such wonderful knowledge and wisdom that helps us on our life's journey. I love what I do. And I do all the admin and I do all the editing. And if you told me, you're going to do, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. Fortunately, I had an ex-partner that said, yes, you can. I'm throwing you in the deep end. This is how you do it. Do it. And I had to learn. Now I wear all the hats. I do what I can. Can I be fancy? No, but I do what I do. And in the past, I wouldn't have believed I could have done it. Stop listening to people selling you short. If you've got a passion for something, if you've got an ability, if you've got a desire, nurture it, explore it, learn all you can about it, and let it lead you somewhere. Don't always dictate. A lawyer and a doctor, I'm going to be so many years at school, and then I'm going to open up my own practice, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. A doctor may find as they get there, they want to be a family doctor, or they want to specialize in heart or children or this or that. A lawyer, I want my own practice, but they may decide that working for a big company is better, and they specialize in a different type of law to what they were going to do. The whole thing is, this is your skill, this is your ability. You really like it, you really love it. Learn, apply, relearn and reapply, and let it grow. It will lead you where you need to go. So that expectation you have for your life, even if you're living a totally different life to what you expected, just understand it was an expectation based on what you knew at the time or what you wanted at the time. And what we know and what we know changes over time. So allow yourself to grow in whatever way. The amount of people that say to me, I have never done this before, never knew I could do this, but I just started doing it and I found I had a knack for it and that I loved doing it. Those are the people that allowed. They allowed themselves to discover. And in discovering that ability, they discovered things about themselves, and then they discovered what they can do to serve others. Because ultimately, that's what it's about. Your gift is here to be of service to others. So, what gift do you have lying within you that you haven't yet used, or you are using but not utilizing well enough because you're selling yourself short, or you're dividing your time up too much amongst people? I have said right now, I was doing 7, 8 shows a week during COVID, the peak of it. And each show was around 4-hour production. So it was too much time. I have gone back to maybe 3 or 4 shows a week because right now I'm in development of 2 books. That is where I'm going to be concentrating on over the winter. So I have to sacrifice something in order to achieve something else. But that doesn't mean that sacrifice is forever. I will go back into doing more shows as the books start doing their thing on their own. So allow. Don't sell yourself short. Don't make excuses. Understand, yes, this is what I saw of myself. This is what I knew of myself. That knowledge is old. This is how I choose to see myself. This is what I choose to follow and do. This is what I choose to explore. And I don't know where it's going to take me, but I'm going to allow it to take me somewhere. Not everything has to be, and now you've got to do this, and now you've got to do that, and this is your conclusion. No. That backpack of knowledge on your back, the willingness to walk forward, the willingness to talk and meet people along the way and learn from them and expand because of that and see where it is that it's taking you, no matter what you're doing. You could be directional. You want to start up your own company? Well, you've got to do A, B, C, and D. Logic's the foundation. Got to be strong and secure. What kind of clients do you want? You're not quite sure yet. Okay. Explore different types of clients. And okay, this is the niche. This is where we're good. Understand you don't have to have all the knowledge right up front. The desire, the drive, the momentum, and the passion and belief that is going to take you somewhere and fulfill something. So your expectation of life is going to change all the way through your life. What's your expectation of your life in the next phase, in your next chapter? Do you expect that you are going to grow in your business, or this is the time for you to spend time on you and what you want for your heart, your soul, and your spirit? Time to sit back? Is it a time to be there for someone else? Just review your life right now. Where are you at? What's important in the moment? And how can it take you forward? And it's okay if you're pausing. It's okay if you're not moving forward at the moment, because this, even in silence and in nothingness, there is something going on. Just that willingness to step forth into a new arena. That's it. That's what it's about, folks. So, whatever expectation you have for your future, may it be one that enriches your heart, soul, and spirit. May it bring you abundance of joy. May it be of meaningful purpose. May it serve you in a very big way, and may it be of service to humanity. So, folks, until next time, this is Sarah Troy. Bye for now. We hope you enjoyed the show. We look forward to bringing you more shows. Please go to selfdiscoverymedia.com/shows and you will see the incredible lineup of genres and shows that we have for you. We are here to make a difference in your life. Thank you for listening.